the COO of San Bernardino County, told us that we're literally taking families out of poverty through a program at Chaffey College. So, students are leaving the Chaffey FM program and they're getting jobs and a career pathway. And they're encouraging their family and friends to enter the field as well.
Welcome to Connected FM, a podcast connecting you to the latest insights, tools, and resources to help you succeed in facility management. This podcast is brought to you by IFMA, the leading professional association for facility managers. If you are ready to grow your network and advance in your career, go to ifma.org to get started. We are joining forces with the IFMA Foundation to kick off a new series, Rework, the Sustainable Development Chronicles. In the first episode, we are sitting down with Diane Levine, the Executive Director of the IFMA Foundation. She discusses the UN Sustainable Development Goals, also known as SDGs, efforts the IFMA Foundation is doing, and how you can get involved. Today's show is full of valuable information that will help you understand more about SDGs and what you can do to make a difference. Now, let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome to the IFMA Foundation's new podcast series, Rework, the Sustainable Development Chronicles. In each episode of this series, we'll focus on one or more of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and their impact on the profession of facility management. In this first episode, we'll be taking a look at how the UN SDGs as a whole align with the educational and charitable mission of the IFMA Foundation, and in particular with efforts such as the Global Workforce Initiative. My guest today is Diane Levine, the Executive Director of the IFMA Foundation. Diane is a former chair of the foundation, as well as a former IFMA board member, workplace consultant, and practicing facility manager. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, well, let's get right down to business. Diane, you've been a leader in the IFMA Foundation ever since I've known you, for a lot of years. First as a volunteer and now as a staff member. So you've witnessed and let's be honest, you've often inspired the foundation's embrace of the UN SDGs. How do you see the SDGs as aligning with the foundation's core mission of training the FMs of tomorrow and making FM a profession of choice?
So the SDGs are critical and many are part of the core competencies of facility management. We can't close our eyes to the challenges the world faces today and the positive contribution that we can make. Facility managers are positioned probably more so than any profession to addressing the sustainable development goals and our global challenges. We directly impact a good portion of the SDGs and indirectly impact the rest. So our educational programs at the foundation and our colleges and universities address sustainability in the SDGs, and the SDGs are even used to attract younger generations to the field, particularly in universities in the Netherlands. They're actually giving presentations about the SDGs and how FMs can impact the SDGs to attract younger folks to their colleges. And the younger generations understand the UN global challenges addressing the SDGs. This is their future. And they're going to be living in this future and they want to live in a better world. So we find that sustainability, when we're talking to students, is one of the major drivers of younger people getting into the profession.
That's great. I really love that idea that the SDGs are one of the things that you can use to draw people to the profession of facility management. You know me, I like anything that draws people to the profession of facility management. But this is such a great goal that I'm really pleased to hear from you that it is being used as a magnet. We called this podcast episode the ABCs of Sustainable Development. And that's because there are so many acronyms coming together in the foundation's work these days. Not just SDG, but GWI and DEI and NGO. So let's look at that last one. In 2022, the IFMA Foundation was recognized by the United Nations as an NGO, a non-governmental organization with special consultative status. Why was this recognition important to the foundation's mission?
So we're very proud of our new recognition with the United Nations. This is important in three areas. One, to raise awareness of the profession globally. Two, to improve engagement for our facility management accredited degree programs in research. And three, to form global partnerships. As an NGO, we can submit to make presentations at the United Nations to talk about the profession and to talk about how we can impact the Sustainable Development Goals and raise awareness of this wonderful field. The IFMA Foundation for over 23 years has been the global accrediting body for facility management degree programs. We have degree programs all over the world. You can get an associate's, a bachelor's, a master's degree. And we see becoming a UN NGO as an opportunity to improve engagement between the research being done at these facility management degree programs and the UN SDGs. So we have a global team that's actually looking at the different entities within the United Nations to see how we can benefit the universities and these accredited degree programs. We also want to form partnerships to expand our grant programs. Currently, the foundation has grant programs in 4 states in the United States, and we'd like to grow these internationally. Partnered with other NGOs and nonprofits and government agencies and workforce development agencies on these grant programs to educate the economically disadvantaged and also to upskill and reskill incumbent workers in FM to further the SDGs. So we'd like to, as an NGO, expand our grant work internationally and connect with other NGOs and organizations within the UN to do this.
The Global Workforce Initiative, GWI. That's a project you've been working on for, again, ever since I've known you, a decade or more. GWI has worked, I know, at the college level, the high school level, and even the middle school level to make young people aware of the opportunities FM provides. Can you tell us more about this initiative for those who may not be aware of it? Let us know how it works and the kinds of successes that the foundation has achieved, the GWI.
Sure. The Global Workforce Initiative does 3 things. It educates, it connects, and it invests. The education portion of it is IFMA Foundation. I mentioned the accredited degree programs, but we also have talent development pipeline programs and registered degree programs around the globe. The connect part is where the foundation comes in. We connect with educational institutions, community organizations, government agencies, IFMA chapters, and other nonprofits to educate the future workforce in facility management. The investing comes with investing in the future of facility management by providing scholarships, internships, career connections events, apprenticeship programs, etc. Just to give you a little history on the Global Workforce Initiative, it really started back in 2015 when Nancy Sandquist, who was a trustee, conducted a bunch of research in a past year with the IFMA Foundation. She conducted a bunch of research about the future of education and found that community colleges were moving more towards industry certificates and courses and credentials. And the cost of college in the US was increasing year over year. Wanted to, as we were putting our strategic planning together, really understand where education was going in the future. And, this movement towards industry certificates was of interest to us. And so we were fortunate to know the CFO and assistant CEO of the County of San Bernardino, California, named Mary Jane O'Hassel. And she basically educated the foundation trustees on workforce development, economic development, how to partner with these types of organizations and educational institutions, and how to really set up this whole continuum of lifelong learning. She introduced us to the CEO or the president of Chaffey College, and we worked with business, industry, economic, and workforce development in the county to develop this program at Chaffey College, which is now a model for all of our grant programs. And the program consisted of adding the IFMA Essentials of Facility Management to an associate's in business degree. And we added a project management course specific to FM, along with a mandatory internship program. So the program launched in 2017. We did it in 2 years. We also created a student chapter at Chaffey College. This student chapter won Student Chapter of the Year at IFMA. A lot of these students were economically disadvantaged, and now they're leaders in the local chapter. They're facility managers and they're making a difference in the field. And then the Chaffey College program, as I said, is a model for our grant programs. Dean Stanbury, who's the first vice chair of IFMA, during COVID, introduced me to the folks in economic development in the city of Denver. And they were interested in taking that Chaffey model and doing a program within Denver. And so we did a pilot during COVID, and the students, 100% of the students were minorities, 50% were veterans, and 50% were women. And we put them through the essentials of FM and OSHA 10. And the program was successful, so successful that Denver introduced us to the state of Colorado, who worked with us to develop a facility manager registered apprenticeship program. And this registered apprenticeship program allowed us to submit for grant applications. And we've been successful in winning grants in Texas with the Texas Workforce Commission for pre-apprenticeship program for the economically disadvantaged. We've got another grant in Denver. It's called a Good Green Jobs Grant that we launched last year. We just recently launched a grant program in Boston with Minuteman Technical Institute. So this model works, and students that are graduating from these programs are getting, gainful employment. We're also in these grant programs training incumbent workers as well. And we're working with the local chapters in Houston and in Denver and in Boston who are helping to mentor the students, provide jobs, etc.
It's an amazing record of success. But one of the things I think both you and I believe is that facility management can be a great career path for underprivileged and marginalized youth. It offers them a good income, stability, and work that's needed whatever the economic conditions are. FM is work that really can't be outsourced. It's so specific to the site where it's performed. How do you see your efforts with the UN and the SDGs aligning with creating those kinds of opportunities for the underprivileged and marginalized youth of our country and our world?
Did you know that FM has a day dedicated to celebrating its achievements? On May 10th, IFMA joins Global FM and other associations around the world to recognize and thank facility managers for their positive contributions. You can take part by making a hashtag World FM Day post on social media, hosting an event, sharing resources, or telling your FM story. Visit worldfmdayinfo.ifma.org to learn more.
So our work is directly affecting 7 of the SDGs. I mentioned, SDG 1, which is no poverty. The former CEO, the COO of San Bernardino County told us that we're literally taking families out of poverty through a program at Chaffey College. So, students are leaving the Chaffey FM program and they're getting jobs and a career pathway. And they're encouraging their family and friends to enter the field as well. We learned from Mary Jane that they were really concerned about starting a program if there weren't any jobs. Students' parents in that county were really leery of having their students study a profession that didn't lead to a good paying job. And Mary Jane told us that when they start telling their family and friends about the field and they start taking the courses, then you have success.
One of the drawbacks we've faced in facility management is that people don't really know exactly what we do and where we do it, and that every building, certainly every commercial building has a need for facility management. So that's a great message to pass on to the youth.
Yes. So SDG 4, that's quality education. There's 3 goals within that SDG that we touch. One is sustainably increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills for employment and decent jobs. So our programs provide quality education and a career path to FM, which is a well-paid job. Another goal within quality education is to ensure that all learners acquire the knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development. And then another goal within quality education is sustainably expand globally the number of scholarships available to developing countries. So we're doing this through our scholarship programs. These scholarships, a lot of students from the global south are receiving these scholarships and impacting sustainability in the SDGs. We also impact SDG 5, gender equality. Women constitute 22% of the global FM labor force. IFMA just did a Women in FM salary compensation survey. The salary survey shows that in the entry level positions, women make the same amount of money as men. However, when you get into the upper management positions, women are making significantly more than men. Then SDG 8, which is decent work and economic growth. Obviously, we're working with our partners and government agencies in economic development and workforce development to reduce the proportion of youth not in employment, education, and training. And we're providing education and training for decent jobs. In SDG 10, reduced inequalities. The goal there is to progressively achieve and sustain income growth for the bottom 40% of the population at a rate higher than the national average. There's SDG 11, sustainable cities. So Denver, Economic Development, Climate Action, Sustainability, and Resiliency Office, they wanted to create career pathways and opportunities for people from under-resourced communities and work on a just transition to climate resilient future for Denver. So they created this training and development workforce that will be first in line for increasing high demand jobs in clean energy. So they created this Good Green Jobs grant program, which we were one of several winners of the program. And so we're working with them to train folks in sustainability and FM and clean energy. And we're also upskilling workers in Denver and other local companies to meet the sustainability goals of Denver. And we're also working with the Denver IFMA chapter and our other folks there as well. And the last one is the SDG 17, which is partnerships. And I've mentioned that, we partner with various organizations to achieve the SDGs.
That's all fantastic. One of the topics you mentioned a few minutes ago is one that is really interesting to me and close to my heart, and that is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And your mention of the salary survey and the disparities that are seen. Do you see the profession of facility management embracing the goals of diversity, equity, and inclusion? And if so, are there specific examples that you can cite about how this has benefited those emerging practitioners that foundation is so integral to training?
Attracting talent to FM is an issue. The labor market is tight. The baby boomers are retiring. One solution is to reach out to a more diverse pool of applicants. Diverse talent is important to the Global Workforce Initiative advisors who fund the foundation, and they include JLL, Sodexo, and ABM. And they are GWI advisors, we call them, and they fund the foundation basically to get first access to talent. And they're interested in diverse talent. And what's more, a diverse team can be more productive. Workplace diversity leads to increased creativity, better innovation, faster problem solving, higher quality decision making, greater profits for the company.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what's next for the foundation in its work with sustainable development goals, with the UN, and with the Global Workforce Initiative? Where am I going to see you pop up next?
Hopefully making a presentation at the UN with our team. We've got this amazing global task force examining all of the different entities within the UN Economic and Social Council to determine how we can best engage some of the entities we're looking at UNESCO, WHO, IIDA, ILO, SDSN. And, we're submitting for workshops. We just submitted yesterday to present at the UN High Level Political Forum. It's our first submission, keeping my fingers crossed. But, we want to really engage at the United Nations so that we can, tell our story and hopefully benefit the accredited degree programs and create partnerships. So, we want to also go to the UN and discuss all the lessons learned that we've had from all of these, from our Global Workforce Initiative, from all of our education programs. And these programs can be replicated around the world. So we're also working with the academic FM degree programs to learn how they can best engage with the UN and learn what kinds of research they're doing on the SDGs so that can also be presented at the United Nations. We're going to continue to grow our accredited degree programs and our scholarship programs. We're constantly evaluating these programs to learn and grow and improve. An area of interest for us at the United Nations is this Eric Teichel Sustainability Professional Scholarship Program. Recipients of the scholarship program are starting to show now how they're making a difference in the SDGs. And so we think if folks at the UN and around the world learned more about this, that they might want to help us make this program more sustainable. And, we're really interested in growing the accredited degree programs, particularly in the global south, because that's important to the future of the UN's mission. And we're just going to continue to train the green workforce for tomorrow's global challenges.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, it's an amazing record of accomplishment so far. And I think one of the things you're doing for all of us who are listening to you today is to get us excited about what is going to happen in the future. You've mentioned some of the organizations have been sponsors and supporters and advocates of your work. I'm sure there are others who would like to get involved. So how can people who are interested in supporting the foundation and its goals get involved with some of this work?
There's so many different ways. You can help us fill the talent gap by becoming a volunteer, one of our various committees. You can become a career ambassador. We have a whole career ambassador program where folks go out into the K through 12 and actually college programs to talk about the field of FM, and we can train you on that. You can make presentations to students. You can help us expose youth, veterans, and students and the unemployed and underemployed to FM careers. We provide scholarships. We've given over $1.8 million in scholarships. We average about 25 to 30 a year. You could provide a scholarship to a student in need. You could tell students and potential funders about our scholarship program. You could find more about that on our website. You could provide introductions for us to government agencies and potential partners, economic workforce development, educational institutions that you think might be a potential partner for the foundation. If you're a company in need of lots of FMs and talent, you can join our Global Workforce Initiative Advisor Program and join Jones Lang LaSalle, Sodexo, and ABM Industries. You can stay connected with us through our website. You can join us at World Workplace. We've got a big gala coming up. It's a 1920s theme at the IFMA conference, and there's going to be a 1920s dance contest. You can enter that contest and donate. Donate to the foundation. As you can see, our work is needed, and we need help actually to make folks aware of our significant role in impacting the UN 2030 SDGs.
Wow, what a wealth of opportunities. And what an amazing organization the foundation is. I think that the work that you're doing and the board of trustees is doing, it just sets an example for so many of us. I want to thank you so much for setting the scene for us today, Diane. You've given us, really great context for our future episodes of this podcast series that are going to walk our listeners through individual goals and how they relate to our profession. So once again, appreciate your involvement, appreciate everything you do, and thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you really enjoyed this episode, and as always, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for more incredible content.